Hello everyone, welcome for today's discussion. My chosen topic is about the evolution of industrial revolution. I know that this term is very ubiquitous or very common to our ears. We heard or we encountered such term several times when we were in elementary until we reached and finished school, right? So, in other words, this discussion is just a sort of recapitulating what we have learned before. Are you ready? Let's start with our learning objectives.
First, explain how Industrial Revolution evolved through the three WH questions: when, where, and why. Secondly, determine the significant contributions of Industrial Revolution to the society. And last, identify some important inventions during Industrial Revolution. Let's discuss first Industrial Revolution: when, where, and why. Industrial Revolution was conventionally divided into two parts: First Industrial Revolution and the Second Industrial Revolution. Let's have first the First Industrial Revolution.
Okay, according to Josefa Radford, a professor in the University of the Philippines, on her book, Kasaysayan ng Daigdig, Ikatlong Taon, it says there, First Industrial Revolution took place or was dated from 1760 to 1830, which is also resemblant to other sources. However, there are some related references, same with what I give to you, the supplemental learning guide, which says there it took place in 1750 to 1850. However, it's okay because in history, there's no fixed date when a certain historical event took place. That is why it is subjective in nature, right? So instead of saying 1760 or 1750, let's say First Industrial Revolution took place in the late 17th century to the early 18th century. So while Industrial Revolution was confined to Great Britain. So what's in Great Britain? Okay, historically, Great Britain was one of the most powerful and wealthiest country in the whole world. However, during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, they became the most, with no one of them, they became the most powerful and wealthiest country in the whole world when they defeated Spain, which is the most powerful country and most influential colonizer during that time, right? So imagine a certain country will defeat the most superior country. How much power, how much wealth, how much fame will it bring into that country, right? So that's why they became the most powerful and wealthiest country in the whole world. So that's the general reason why Great Britain or why Industrial Revolution was confined to Great Britain. So there are three main reasons why Great Britain or why Industrial Revolution was confined to Great Britain. First is large and fast business capital. Okay, so for every country or a town to become industrialized, they must have a big infrastructures and large businesses, right? But or to be able to establish large businesses, you must have a large capital, which will be used to buy your raw materials to be converted to your product, machineries for faster and efficient production, and of course, for your human resources or your workers and proletariats. As what they said, large business capital is tantamount to large businesses. So in Great Britain, people there have an easy access to large business capital, or it's easy for them to look for business capital. And it became much easier when the Bank of England was established. It is a government-owned bank which lends money to the capitalist who wants to venture business. Okay, second reason is enclosure movement. What is enclosure movement? It is a process where landowner or the farmers sell their own lands to the capitalist. Why they did it? Okay, during that time, they don't have any idea, the farmers don't have any idea on how to use new machines for farming and other agricultural activities. Hence, they decided to sell their own lands to the capitalists and moved to urban places or urban places and work as factory workers. Okay, with this, business capitalists have a vast land site for them to build their, of course, their businesses. And this paved the way for more manufacturing businesses for large scale industries. Third and last reason is the scientific principles for practical life, which is the inventions of acute and highly gifted scientists, inventors, and engineers during that time. So later I'll discuss it one by one. Okay, although Great Britain was the original place where Industrial Revolution took place, however, it's not them, it's not the British state who became the first European country to develop economically, but it's Belgium. Okay. When William and John Cockerell moved to Belgium, they built a machine shop at Liege. It is a city in Belgium. They made machineries and more inventions, which started the Industrial Revolution in the country. And later, they became the home of foundries or factories which produce metals, and they are also the top producer of coal and textiles. Okay, next is France. Belgium and Great Britain started their industrialization. However, France find it hard to adopt such change, not until the reign of King Louis Philippe and Napoleon III, who focused on industrial power in establishing and implementing policies which focus on industrialization. Okay, there are a lot of reasons why France was left behind on industrialization. First was due to the devastating effect of Napoleonic War. Secondly, they have weak colonies. Third, they have an insufficient supply of coal and they have a poor quality of metals. Next is Germany. Germany established their industrial power in 1870 when they reached national unity. You know why? Because Germany was originally divided into several states. And later, they became the top producer of chemical industries in the whole world. Okay, that was the first industrial revolution. Next is Second Industrial Revolution. Okay, so why there is Industrial Revolution? Okay, first reason is to replace the agricultural and handicraft economy. Okay, remember that industrialization is a shift from agricultural or handicraft economy to the one dominated by machineries. In other words, the traditional way of living, like for example in agriculture it is done manually, was replaced by using machines and equipment, which is now the inventions. Second reason is for faster and economic development. Okay, through the inventions of various equipments, machineries, and even in transportation, it paved the way for faster and economic development. People don't need to spend huge time for them to produce a certain product. Third is inventions of mechanized equipment. next. As what I said a while ago, there is industrialization due to the inventions. As simple as that. Due to industrialization, people now use technologies, equipments, and machines, both operated by diesel or gasoline and electricity or power. There is a shift from Paleolithic age to Neolithic age up to the Metal Age until now, the technological or digital age. Next is socioeconomic. Due to these machines, more products were sold both in local and foreign markets. Consequently, it brought a huge amount of money or income or wealth in the country. However, as industrialization became prevalent, there was a conflict between the two social groups, the proletariats and the capitalists, as stated on the book of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, entitled Das Kapital and Communist Manifesto. Next is cultural changes. People learned new skills as they adopt new methods in doing a certain job. For example, the traditional way of weaving textile before they manually made it. But when sewing machine was invented, they just used their feet to operate such machine. Next is political changes. Like what King Philip did, he focused on establishing industrial power as he saw how much wealth or how much power will it bring into their country. If before they focused on how to expand their empire or strengthen their colonies, now they saw the importance of industrialization. Last is psychological changes. Since they already have the idea on how to use these new inventions, it made them more confident and even pushed them to make their own invention, like what Henry Ford did. Later you'll find out who is this man. First is sponging. It is used in weaving textiles. Before, weaving textile or fabrics were done manually, but with this machine, it became faster and easier. By the way, spinning jenny was named after the daughter of Hargreaves named Jenny. Next is steam engine. The first one to discover steam engine was not James Watt. It is only him who patented and introduced it to the market. The first steam engine was called Newcomen engine. However, this machine is only limited by pumping water from the river. So, James Watt improved it. Next is water frame. It is also used in textile industry.
Power loom is a machine operated by a steam engine that is used in producing textiles. It is much faster and larger than those of Hargreaves, Arkwright, and Compton.
Is paddle steamer by Robert Fulton. It was the first sea transportation vehicle operated by a steam engine. This paddle steamer is known as Clermont.
The steam locomotive was the first land transportation vehicle powered by a steam engine. It was originally made by Richard Trevithick and later improved by George Stephenson. Telegraph, an old-fashioned system of sending messages over long distances by using wires and electrical signals.
Next is Charles Goodyear. He was hailed as the father of mechanization. He is also the inventor of the first rubber wheel and the founder of Goodyear Company.
Gatling machine gun was the first high-powered gun that fires 350 bullets per minute. With this invention, war and conflicts were triggered. Cyrus W. Field is an American industrialist who made the first telegraph cable laid across the Atlantic. Alexander Graham Bell is an American inventor who made the first telephone. It had a single unit of electromagnet that could be used both as transmitter and receiver. Thomas Alva Edison is an American inventor who made the first phonograph that is used in reproducing recorded sounds. Incandescent bulb by Thomas Alva Edison. Although he's not the first to invent incandescent bulb, yet the credit was given to him as he made a more convenient and high-quality incandescent bulb sold in the market. Michael Faraday is a renowned scientist and inventor, particularly in the field of electromagnetism. His greatest invention during Industrial Revolution was the first electric generator. Daimler discovered that gasoline could be used in operating a machine. 4 years later, he attached a buggy or a wheel onto his machine, which saw the birth of motorcycle. Carl Benz was the first who made an auto vehicle with 3 wheels. If Daimler introduced to us the use of gasoline, Rudolf Diesel, on the other hand, discovered diesel as used in operating a machine.
Next is Guglielmo Marconi. He is an Italian inventor credited in the invention of the first radio. However, he was not the first to make it, but it's Alexander Popov of Soviet Union. Marconi just patented his work and introduced to the market. That is why the credit was given to him.
Henry Ford also invented an auto vehicle and sold it to the market at cheap price. This made him produce a large number of auto and became a successful businessman. John McAdam is one of the most successful inventor and engineer during Industrial Revolution. He had a great contribution in land transportation. He constructed a more stable road equipped by large racks and topped with the crushed one. His road was named after him, Macadam Roads. Wilbur and Orville Wright are British engineers and inventors who made the first flying machine and took the first successful flight in 1903.
That ends my discussion. Hope you gained something. Thank you.